Forever. Dog.
So I think that what this person is saying is she has a new vulva and she's never had a vulva before.
That brand new vulva smell.
She says, how do you guys avoid the embarrassing event of leaving tiny bits of toilet paper after you go pee?
Welcome.
That's like why every girl is like, I just need to go to the bathroom. And is going through her personal, like her little thing of wipes, just cupping water over the toilet
All
into
the folds. Just checking.
Just doing a quick check.
Quick fold check.
Yeah.
Welcome to the sisterhood.
Well, as it has been a full calendar week, do you guys have any updates?
No, we're jumping right into the location discussion because I need to hear why you guys are so upset.
Well, you're too young to realize a time, to think of a time where you weren't living under state and personal surveillance, corporate surveillance, state surveillance, and personal surveillance. You have grown up in truly probably the worst era for privacy in human history. Definitely.
Okay.
Absolutely, without question.
And it changes the way you think. And I don't like that people object that, oh, no, it doesn't make me different. It absolutely makes you different. It's scary out here. That's me.
So,
Okay, I can see
location
that.
sharing, I wouldn't say I'm mad at it.
I'm mad at it.
I think it's interesting when it becomes a point of conflict between couples or in relationships when one person really wants the location shared and the other person doesn't want to share it. And like the conflict and the really strong sort of feelings and like assumptions that are made on both sides when that's happening, that's what I think is fascinating.
I don't see how it cannot be a point of conflict unless, because like I just don't. Also, I think it's like wild. I'm going to be real opinionated about this one. I think it's wild that if someone was like, I don't location share, that the answer is anything but, oh, okay. Like,
yeah.
It's your right to have your autonomy. Like, it's your right to be able to.
That's valid.
Yeah.
To me, the whole, well, what are you hiding question reminds me of everything else that is happening in society when it comes to, like, oh, if you don't want to answer that question, oh, if you don't want to do this, then what do you hide? This is like everything's a fucking purity test. And it's because there's just too much information out there. Too much.
I was thinking the exact same thing, that just generally this sort of, it's interesting that, so the season finale of Sleeping Around, which is out now, if you want to go watch it or listen to it.
Your podcast is doing great.
Season finale of Sleeping Around. I have a guest on, Dr. Justin Lee Miller. He's the host of the Sex and Psychology podcast, which was a cool full circle moment because that was like the first psychology sex podcast I ever listened to. So to have him on was really neat. But he is an expert in fantasy. And so we had a whole conversation around fantasy and desire and behavior. And it was really fascinating how we inevitably went into a conversation around like thought policing and this idea that, you know, people think that their fantasies there's a morality to it, right? It's like it makes you a good person or a bad person depending on what you fantasize about. Or that if you fantasize about something that's like unethical, that means something about who you are as a person.
He says this is a common occurrence that people think that.
Oh yeah, that like there isn't enough differentiation between fantasy, desire, and behavior. So for example, you can fantasize about something like something, I mean, if we, you know, I don't really want to go into like dark stuff, but like if you imagine fantasizing about something.
Of course it's inherently dark because we're talking about ethics. So like.
Yeah, but if I could use an example that's probably more relevant to our audience, which is if you're fantasizing about, like if you have like a gay fantasy, right? So let's say you identify as a straight woman and you fantasize about having sex with a woman. That turns you on. It excites you. You like to think about it. That's fantasy. there's a difference between having the fantasy and actually wanting to enact that fantasy in real life. That's the desire. And then actually enacting it in real life. That's the behavior.
Yes.
And so this discussion around fantasy, what he says that is often missing, and like he does expert witness testimonies in trials, and like often this piece about fantasy is brought up, like, oh, this person, like in a divorce case, let's say, someone has fantasized about like cheating, and that is like used as evidence that they're like unfit or whatever, right? And he's saying that when you have fantasy, that's one thing. It really means nothing except that thing turns you on. And there's so many reasons that a thing could turn you on, including taboo.
Yeah, and that you don't want to do. Yeah, the fact that it's not something that you can or want to do.
Exactly.
And so reminds me so much of, sorry, Alayna, I don't want to cut you off.
The last kind of piece is like, so that's the fantasy part where you kind of more tread into, if you're having a fantasy that's like dangerous or criminal or unethical, whatever, where you more kind of travel into danger territories when that is paired with an actual desire to enact that fantasy, and then like the behavior piece. But this all ties into what we're talking about, where we're like wanting to police people's fantasies, or like your thoughts somehow mean that you're like a good or bad person. This all kind of ties into the location sharing thing.
I'm not surprised by this, because the way, okay, here we go. The way that our media consumption works is now kind of through fantasy and thought.
Right.
We express ideas in text or in Google searches, or we're trying to learn about something in ChatGPT, or maybe we're having a fantasy, so we search for porn. I mean, it doesn't even have to be sexual. But then those cookies pick this up, and it kind of goes into your algorithm, and you're like, oh, what does this say about me and my identity? And then therefore, what do I watch? Who do I like? All of these things, every thought that we have that comes out either into the microphone of our phone or via text has a ramification on the things that we see, and therefore the things that we buy, number one, to the corporations and stuff like that. So it's very, I'm not is he saying there's an uptick in this behavior? Because I think there's an uptick in this behavior, but I don't have any science behind that yet. But
we didn't talk about changes or trends in that way. We talked about like trends or differences that he sees in like different groups in like kind of the fantasies that people tend to have, which was fascinating. Which, Ashley, you'll probably love this. I loved it. And Mac, let me know what you think. He was talking about how you'll find differences in themes of fantasy in like Republicans versus Democrats.
Yes.
Oh.
And that like
we've talked about this on WHGS.
The more Republican or like conservative leaning folks tend to, and obviously this is just like an overarching, there's difference in every group, whatever, but you see a trend toward fantasies about cheating, fantasies about non-monogamy, fantasies about group sex, like fantasies that are outside of your kind of like nuclear family monogamous ideal that's held more like the more traditional sort of beliefs that are held on that side of the spectrum.
And homosexuality too is more searched in the South.
Yeah. And then on the more liberal side of things, or the more democratic side of things, you have more fantasies about submission, more fantasies about power play. Because that's seen as like taboo. And this is, now I'm going off on a tangent, and we're a bit behind, but like I think about this with the whole Sabrina Carpenter thing, and like that album cover she posted with like her hair being pulled by the man, and how it caused this uproar of people being like, this is regressive, it's anti-feminist, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, no, this is like literally what we're fantasizing about, because we have such a strong reaction to the idea that a woman might be turned on by submitting to a man or to her partner. And it's just fascinating. This like, and then it creates all of this shame and all of this secrecy and all of this idea that like the things that I want are wrong or bad. And then, you know, you get into this like not sharing with your partner or partners like the actual things that you want, not being able to like live a life that satisfies what you actually want because it's become moral. It's become like a signal about who you are as a person.
It's so, this topic is so interesting to me just as a comedian because part of, I would say, the genre that I work in is I'm doing a joke on, I can't say it on the pod because it's truly the medium is the message and I don't want, I just can't handle how people will, if it's taken out of context. It's too, too nuanced actually. But I was like, I'm going to work my way up to this most taboo topic. And the middle topic, I'll do intrusive thoughts. Because I thought, I was like, everyone has intrusive thoughts. And no, intrusive thoughts they'll make people uncomfortable, but they'll recognize that it's thoughts. And I was shocked how many people took them literally. Like the two that I did was I have a friend with OCD. He has only ever slept with 2 women. And one of his OCD loops, he worries about consent. And he told me, he's like, when I'm feeling rational, I'm like, why am I worried about consent with like the one other, his girlfriend and the one other woman that he ever slept with? He's the sweetest boy. But he's like, one of my darkest thought loops is that she's gonna come to me and be like, hey, I didn't really give you consent. And that he worries about that so much. I asked and I said, are you guys not laughing because you actually think that my friend might have raped his ex? And the audience went, yeah. And I was like, I just can't stand you, man. I just cannot stand that we live in a world where you're not allowed to be a human being. You can't control all of this.
No. And that's like so much of therapy for a lot of people is around understanding that your thoughts are not reality. Your thoughts are not. And I wonder if there's like an educational piece here, like how, because so much of our thoughts have become public and there is this feeling, there's this like in this sense that when the people that you're viewing, the people in your life, that like you are seeing every thought that they have, therefore like you're the only one having dark, bad thoughts or whatever, which is just not true.
And it's not inherently political either. I feel like as a comedian, and when we're talking out loud, your thoughts have to align to some moral or political hierarchy, or you're like not allowed to have those thoughts. And it's like, I wonder if I change the genders of these characters in this like thing that I'm talking about. If that, I often find if I'm trying to prove a point, if I flip the characters so that it politically represents something that people can agree with, all of a sudden it works. And it's crazy just how much moral policing is going on in our own minds. And as a society, there isn't, and this is the point of the joke that I'm trying to make, if someone can express their thoughts and feel like they have a place to do that, that ends up bringing up really interesting discussions. It ends up, we know it's healthier for us to express our thoughts. That's why we journal. That's why we go to therapy. But like the whole point of the joke that I'm trying to make is, you know that if you were willing to have nuanced conversations with friends, you might learn something about or teach someone something about consent or cover any gray area. And that would be good. My friend there's literally, he's so cute. He just truly has the worst OCD I've ever seen. But like, you know, like it's just.
And some like OCD those intrusive thoughts will often express themselves in exactly like the last thing that you would actually desire to do or enact. Like that is part of OCD, is it's like trying to, I don't know if it's how you put this, but like
your worst case scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Like the thing you are the least likely to do. Like you often get it with new parents where they'll come into therapy and like their confession is like, I think about shaking my baby. And people hear that. That has been used in trials as like to prove that somebody's an unfit parent. And it's like, that is such a common intrusive thought. It's like not even funny. Like it,
bro, I'm not even a parent. I think about shaking babies. I'm on planes all the time being like, I should shake that baby.
Shake a baby. Like people talk about like, you know, I don't know. I don't feel safe holding my baby because I have intrusive thoughts about dropping them, or like all of these things, when it's like being able to really with thoughts, the differentiation is like, well, do you want to do that thing? Like, is there a desire to do that thing? No, not at all. Well, then it's like, if anything, it's signaling to you that this thing, the baby, the consent, whatever it is important to you. And that's actually positive, you know, like that actually is signaling that you are a person who cares about X, Y, Z. Yeah.
Yeah, and I even feel uncomfortable saying my intrusive thoughts because I'm like, they're going to clip them up and, you know, use them against me. So it's like, but man, if we were just, also, I just think being comfortable with, I don't know, man. I think about some of the darkest things and I'm just like, maybe I'm a weirdo, but like it would be disturbing. But I would love to, the same way I love talking to homophobic people and like really trying to understand them. God, I wish I could talk to someone truly evil. I feel like if I could talk to someone truly evil, I would learn so much about evil. And isn't it better that we know about evil? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I think about all these, talking to a murderer would be so interesting.
Well, and evil is interesting because it's almost like the people who might be considered truly, quote unquote, evil would be some of the people who could quite effectively mask that, quote unquote, evil. And so we're almost looking at the wrong thing. Like when we're trying to, trying to seek out who is good or bad, like, the person who's trying to share a nuanced thought or who is working something out loud alongside you or in front of you, that person is less likely to be quote unquote evil than the person who, like the wolf in sheep's clothing kind of thing, where they are. Yeah. So it's a trick. But I also am recognizing that Mac, you haven't. Ashley and I are dominating this. How do you have thoughts? Do you have dark fantasies you'd like to share with the whole internet?
Absolutely not. Do you ever, like, Ashley, you talk all the time on the podcast about how we're always under surveillance and like everything we say or think or whatever is being put online. I think that's part of the reason that we can't have like a lot of these nuanced conversations that we would like to have on the podcast. Because, not just
because, sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just thinking about it and I'm like, if the three of us are in a room together, I'm fully confident that we could have really great conversations. They could be super nuanced, and not that we don't do that on the podcast, but there's that fear, and there's always going to be that sometimes. Not really.
I think we do.
There are topics that we do. There are topics that we fully avoid.
Ashley wants to go a different direction. Yes. But I think if we were all three in a room together. Topics. Especially what?
Liberal topics.
Yes, I agree. I think if we were all three in a room together, we could have much more productive and deeper conversations about that, because it's not getting put online for everybody to hear and everybody to interpret and everybody to say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because we have the ring of trust between us, and we also have creator code. We know you do not fucking, it's not going anywhere because we're not going to ruin each other's lives. But I think for regular people without the creator code, that level of trust is not always there. They have a very small group of people that they do that with. I think it's probably even smaller than like people like us, because I know I can trust you guys. I know I can trust anybody who understands the ramifications that it has on your career. But I think,
Or your life, like
Or your
just
life.
your mental health, your livelihood, like
but I think how many times don't you? This is something of all places, watching The Golden Bachelor is where I saw this.
Oh, interesting. I've
generational
never
gap.
watched it.
You should watch
seen.
it. It's very interesting to watch. They have a much easier time sharing their ignorance about things and being a little more, I don't want to use the word confrontational, but a little more like, hey, what's going on with you? Like when they have more healthy conflict. They're willing to ask questions in a way that I don't see in younger people on the same shows. It's more like, it's very interesting, and it made me think, back in the day, you would probably be more likely to have a nuanced conversation with someone you didn't know as well about something that maybe the two of you didn't agree on than today.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's been like, yeah. A lot of conversation has been lost. And I say that as I'm saying it, I'm thinking, okay, so what's the answer? Like, we talk about this a lot, and kind of how people are lacking connection, and loneliness is on the rise, and people on their phones and touch grass. Like, we talk about it all the time, but it's like, what hope can we offer? Because I also don't want to just talk about how things are bad now, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think we're cooked, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm in the we're cooked camp as well. I think we've
No,
reached
we're
a
not
tipping
cooked.
I
point.
hate to say that, but
no way.
Companies
way.
should not have our data, just as we've shown that we can't be healthy enough animals to resist the free product in exchange for our data. It should be regulated. Your identity, I know you guys, people have disagreed with me when I've said this in the past because they literally don't understand what I'm saying. So I'll spell it out very clearly here. Your identity should be linked to every account that you have. That doesn't mean that when you're online, your identity is visible to other people. But if your identity is linked to your account, it means that no one can create bots.
Yeah, there's like an accountability piece too for like.
Yes, and if you commit
I
a
understand
hate
what you're saying.
crime or you harass someone, it is linked to you. And there
Yeah,
should be some
right.
sort of regulation created by experts. It doesn't mean you get doxxed. It doesn't mean that you can't have anonymity. It just means that you're going to be, if your background was somewhere, if you, like we did back in the day, if you had to take a risk by putting your name on something, without complete anonymity, you would treat people differently than the people talk online.
Yep. Absolutely.
Obviously people are afraid of that because they're like, well, what about coming out online and stuff like that? And it's like, with our current government, I can't be sure about that, but in theory, that's not something that would ever break any kind of law. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if it even needs, it's more about the bots, I think, is the most important thing, is keeping bots from being online. And screenshotting shouldn't exist.
Why do you
Like
say that?
screenshotting private conversations. you
Yeah,
mean?
private conversations should not be able to be recorded or screenshotted.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's interesting actually, because if you think about, isn't there, oh God, I don't know enough about this to be speaking on it, but maybe you guys do. Isn't there some sort of law against like, you can't record somebody like on the phone or
California's
something without,
Some
okay.
states,
Yeah,
you
in
need
some
two-party
states.
consent.
Yeah.
Right. And so the like screenshotting piece, that feels like a logical, reasonable extension of, you can't record somebody's voice when they don't know they're being recorded. You can't film somebody unless they're in public. Like, it feels like a natural extension.
The problem
to say
is there's
you can't
always ways
screenshot
around
private
this, but like,
conversation.
Instagram could easily implement a feature that's like, hey, you're posting a screenshot of a conversation. Do you verify you Ashley Gavin, verify that this other person gave you consent to show this conversation.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people have to get warrants to see that
Exactly.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, like, compared to, I've been trying to work on this joke. If someone in my childhood had taken one of my AIM messages and screenshotted it and handed it out to everybody at school, I would never be friends with that person again. And now it's just sort of like, yeah, that could happen. You could, and it's just part of fighting with a friend.
Well, and like oh God, like if I think about, it's also like people are punished for like not knowing something before they know it. Like when you're learning, as we all are always, and then before you knew something, you said something that is counter to the thing you now know and believe, that being punished for having said that thing a decade ago is wild.
You're seeing less and less of that now, I think, with celebrities. Maybe not gay ones, but
Maybe that's why the people
white
on
men.
The Golden Bachelor are more comfortable like talking to each other because they're all from the same generation. They all have a similar understanding of like
oh yeah,
learning.
older people are so. I mean, when men talk to me about things, the older men that speak to me are terrified. I mean, like there are so many disclaimers, and I have to say to them, I have to be like,
footnotes.
"You're talking to the most homophobic person I know. Ask me your question. I'm deeply sexist. Ask me your question." But I need, because like I just know they mean well. They mean well.
Yeah.
And they're living terror of us. They live they're losing their jobs. They're terrified.
Well, it's even like, and I'm thinking even of like my parents and their friends, or like that generation. Like when I go back home to small town Manitoba, people want to ask me questions. It's like the same thing. They have questions about what it is that I'm doing or whatever, like identity stuff. And it's the same thing. Like I have to say, you are not going to offend me. Like ask whatever you want to ask. Don't worry about using perfect language. Like that's what we're here for. And, or they'll like, quote unquote, make a mistake, right? Like in learning new pronouns or whatever. And these are people who are like, they are truly at their core trying to be as respectful as possible. They care. They want people to feel safe. They want to be inclusive. And then they'll like mix up a pronoun, and it's like it's stopping people from even trying to learn. This like fear of making a mistake and like that meaning that you're then a bad person. And it all comes back to we're not then even like having the conversations where people can learn or people can ask imperfect questions. Because how can you ask a perfect question if you don't know?
Yes.
Well, Alayna, do you see why we think we're cooked?
I don't think we're cooked. I don't think we're cooked.
I hope we're not
I'm
cooked.
going to keep trying as if we're not cooked, but like, I do think we're over the tipping point.
Maybe it's, you are also like, I don't know the difference in like being in America and not in America. Maybe I feel less cooked because I'm in Canada.
America is much worse than other countries.
Bugs
fact,
really has a
other
lot to say about this. I don't know if you're hearing her
you're
screaming this whole time.
But when people come to my show in America, when they're from another country, they're like, it's so tense here. And I'm like, yeah. My big fear about America is that the younger generation, and I'm going to sound old, but I really think what I'm saying has value. We are running slowly out of people who remember what it's like to be free.
Oh, that's really sad.
We're running out of people. You know, the more I've learned about, I've spent I'm thinking about enrolling. I literally had the thought the other day. I was like, should I get a philosophy PhD? Because I've been getting really into this in part of my adventure to spend less time on my phone, reading and doing a lot more philosophy podcasts. So I'm learning about this stuff.
This is just to put a pin in for after. We never finished the question last time. What are your hobbies? Because like I repeat, bring back hobbies. Okay, Ashley, continue, and then let's talk about hobbies.
I'm deeply into philosophy right now, and I've learned a lot about capitalism in the United States up until about 1980, and then post 1980 capitalism. There was a time where capitalism was so different than what it is now. And right now it's really a trap. And it's not like one of my big pet peeves with people around economic systems is that everyone thinks it's a linear graph. Like more socialism is always better till the end, or more capitalism is always better. When really it's more of a parabola, and different things need different levels of socialism and capitalism, and they can actually work together for different things. So I've been learning about all these different basically models of freedoms and economies and stuff like that. But we're almost out of the people living during a time where you actually had upward mobility for at least some people in America. Now there's almost no upward mobility at all. And we're running out of a time where people weren't surveilled. And my fear is that when these people are gone, it's going to be harder for people to visualize. And this is part of what we're dealing with capitalism. It's hard for people to visualize an alternative.
Yeah.
And people feel very helpless. They feel like nothing they do will matter. We really live in a time of stagnation in a lot of ways. And a lack of hope. So my fear is that with the people who can say, hey, you don't have to live in fear of your thoughts. You don't have to live in fear of asking questions. I feel like we should be listening to those people.
Mac, when you say that you think we're all cooked, what do you mean, and where does that come from?
I just feel like lately, especially, anytime you're tuned in to like all of these conversations going on social media, it feels so overwhelming, and it feels so hopeless to see people argue with each other in the way that they do. I mean, a lot of it's like what Ashley's talking about, the way that people speak to each other and like the thought policing. But then watching the conversations happening online and knowing that there is no resolution that they are going to find online in a comment section together, and it is just further creating this group mentality. And I'm like, I see that, and it keeps moving that way, and it keeps happening, and it won't stop happening as long as social media is around. And it makes me feel like we're cooked. Like, it's so overwhelming that you can decide to not look at it, but you still know what's going on. And like, even when you focus on your own life, like I'm like, me with my friends, we get offline and we hang out, and it's awesome, and I love it. It feels so good. But then you still know that's there, and it's unavoidable also because it's unavoidable, I know specifically for people who like us who are doing content creation. You can limit how much you see of it, but you still know it's happening, and it makes you feel...
The effects are still happening.
Yeah, it makes you feel just, like, overwhelmed. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are people this way?
I want to rate... Like, I said to Jen, and this is an area where we disagree a little bit, but I totally understand her point. Like, I don't want my kids to have any social media. I don't even want them to have a phone. I'm not going to track where my kid is. And I want them... But I also know that if they don't have a phone, they will be left out of the group chats, which are a very big thing for kids in middle school and high school.
That's the tough thing.
And they will be like a social pariah in that way, and they'll miss out on things. And unless there are other kids that are going to be available to them.
And maybe that's like, oh, Ashley,
these kids, like they're so sad. They're so mentally ill, and like, sorry. See, I'm such a little bitch, and people don't know it, but like, I get so upset for these
Ashley,
kids.
You're not a little bitch. It's really sad.
For the senior gays and the kids.
I just feel like they're just set up to fail, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Well, we can, as like the next generation of parents, I think that there will be more kids who don't have social media. There will be more kids who maybe have like a dumb phone or something where they can still
How is it that
chat.
it's not illegal for kids shouldn't have a phone? Like no one should have a phone under 18, or if you do, it has to be like the dumbest phone.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to me, and because it's mental health and not like cigarettes, it's gonna take so much longer to prove it and like all this stuff. And we're all addicted to it too. And it's just so much easier to shove a phone in your kid's face. Like, I
Right.
get that.
God, this episode is so depressing. This is making me so depressed.
I can't believe I just burst into tears about my future children. But like I don't want my 11-year-old to like have a friend or even herself like have a nudes issue. You know, like that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the girls get in trouble for sending around child pornography.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, I agree. Like, no social media until you're 18. Like, that's. But
then
it's
you
hard to
think
say.
about-
It's hard to
I was
say
gonna say
before
when we
you're
get
a
to that
parent.
point
Like, who
where
knows?
we're all having kids, what's it gonna look like?
Kid is
What's the
looking
climate
at you
gonna
like, please, I'm a loser. All my friends are.
be? Yeah.
I don't know. There's got to be. There's got to be a middle road, and I think that we're getting closer to finding it. Like, even Mac, what you're saying about like looking at the conversations online and they're going nowhere. Like, I do feel like we're starting to shift. Do you not see that? Like, I feel like there are starting to be shifts of more people understanding that we are.
I think the understanding, well, I don't know. I feel like it's been there. I mean, it's hard for me, right? I'm so biased. Biased. This has ruined. It did irreparable damage to my career. So it's hard for me to be like, yeah, we'll find a way to fix it. You know, like, I don't know, man.
I think, Alayna, I see what you're saying, and I also do see those conversations or those takes that people are having.
You don't see them online a lot, though.
I see them occasionally, but what I was going to say is that I don't think it does anything to move the conversation forward. I think it just creates more infighting, because I don't think in the online medium, in the social media realm, we are truly capable of having those nuanced conversations. It's like I was just saying earlier, like that is a realm where 100%
Medium is
surveillance.
the message.
Everything you say, everything you comment, people have access, can see that. So I don't truly think that the nuanced conversation is going to happen online, because sometimes I see people post those takes and then people get mad at those people because they're like, you're enabling, or like you're not holding people accountable, or like that kind of language that comes out to oppose those takes, when sometimes it doesn't seem like they're even really listening. And I don't think they will listen in that medium.
To me, it's just sort of like something that I have come to from having these conversations and thinking about this stuff is that, like, we act, okay, I'm about to say something crazy. We act like immorality. Like, one of the things that comes up again and again is Ellen. For me, Ellen is like sort of my standard here, because like, it is possible. I don't think there's like a ton of evidence, but it is possible that there was like a pretty toxic work environment. And if you work in Hollywood, I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's a toxic work environment. And Jimmy Fallon sort of had the tiniest little blip on his record for the same thing, maybe worse, but has continued his career. And the thing that I have come back to again and again is like, it's almost like maybe immorality, some immorality is good. maybe it's okay that some people are bad. Maybe they're, because the alternative of holding everyone to perfect morality at all times creates something worse than just accepting that sometimes people are bad and do bad things. I don't know. I don't know if what I'm saying even makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way to.
I've learned to
Well,
hold.
like,
Maybe we would be robots type of thing if there was no.
Well, it's like
There's no
I think
utopia.
I understand what you're saying. It's like by not. Well, yes, I'm trying to put it into my own words. Like, by not allowing, there's something in there about like giving grace, assuming good intentions, giving benefit of the doubt. Like, there needs to be more room for that. Yeah, what you're saying is something about that, like, there is no room for imperfection. And so we're all being held to this kind of perfect standard, which is unachievable and doing more harm than is being done by like somebody being grumpy in the workplace.
Right. Yeah. It's sort of like,
Or being a diva or whatever.
Out of this sort of puritanical purity tests, what has grown, and some other economic things, what has grown is fascism. Because people are so hungry for someone to do anything, just do something. Because we're just all the time about our morality, our purity tests. That people are just like, can someone strong just come in here and don't worry what anyone thinks, just break it.
Yeah.
And do something.
Yeah.
Because when that's sort of like, that's the opposite of the purity test, right? That's the swing back, is the strong man. So maybe living
Which is what
here,
has just happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe living here in the middle where Ellen and Jimmy Fallon are being dicks, and we go, you know what? This is, if you don't want to work for Ellen, like, I get your severance, have your lawsuit, but like, is it worth more than that? Is it worth more than that?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry that I went on a tirade here.
No, I'm just trying to think, because like you kind of can go in circles, like thinking about, because then you come into the argument of like, well, where's the line? Like, so what? We just let people be whatever. But it's like, no, there's something in here about.
It's not about like, finding a line. It's about helping people grow. In the search, the search for the line is important.
There's something in here about like taking action in your own, like in the things that are happening in your actual vicinity, and spending your energy and time fighting those battles rather than these kind of like, well, we like what I'm thinking of is like, maybe rather look into working conditions in your own city, or like in the coffee shop you go to or whatever. Like maybe spend your time looking at the way that those employees are treated and taking action around that versus spending your time hating Ellen. Like that's what I'm like, maybe that would actually make more change, is like, think about the thing that is upsetting to you, and like, it's probably
what
that
organizations can you get involved with that help with that kind of thing? Where can you donate your time and your money, and what can you read about that like ensures that thing doesn't happen? I mean,
well, and really this small scale, like because I'm like, okay, the thing that is making people mad is like workers being mistreated, right? That's why people are mad at Ellen and Jimmy Fallon, is workers being unfairly treated, bosses being dicks. Fair. I guarantee you that the clothing store you shop at in your small town or whatever, like there's somewhere that you directly engage with where they also have a shitty boss. Like maybe there's a way to look more into the policies of those places and like make change for the people who are actually in your community. Like use that anger in that way rather than like trying to take down Ellen DeGeneres. Is where my head is going.
I think it's Michael Sandel, this philosopher, where he's like, the solution to all of this is investing in citizens that are growth-oriented, educated, thoughtful citizens.
Right.
And that's basically what you're describing, Alayna. And like, yeah, and I think also like trying to move it positively rather than negatively. It just makes so much more sense. Something major needs to happen because, and I think most people don't know what it is. Oh yeah. And also I want to go. I've had a lot of feelings.
Yeah, you have. Now you can go to therapy and talk about them.
We just need to stop sharing our locations. I think that's the lesson of that.
I mean, that's
I'm
part
not
of it.
sharing my location. I don't even know how to turn that on.
I have my location shared with my family.
Fair enough. I don't really know.
Hey, what are you guys hiding?
I can like find my iPhone, I think. I'm not totally sure.
Are you okay, Ashley?
Yeah.
Yeah, I worry. I love I love kids so much, and it makes me so sad that I just feel like fun is dying.
Yeah.
And their
It does
ability
feel like that.
their ability to get hurt and recover is dying. And I think that that's so important. They need to get lost. They need to have fights with friends that don't turn into school-wide public shamings. They just need to be able to fail in safe environments. And it's just like,
I have
Good, nice, light, easy question, please, Alayna.
Yeah, I have kind of a fun one.
Okay.
This person says, as a post-op female transgender, I've noticed something that I never had to think about before. So I think that what this person is saying is she has a new vulva and she's never had a vulva before.
that brand new vulva smell.
She says, how do you guys avoid the embarrassing event of leaving tiny bits of toilet paper after you go pee?
Welcome. Welcome.
Have you guys ever heard of that referred to as clitty litter?
Here's the answer.
That's awesome.
You're just gonna have to try different brands of TP while you're at home. Otherwise, there's nothing you can do, really.
Yeah.
Bidet.
unfortunately.
You could get a bidet.
You
Yeah.
get a bidet.
There you go. There you go.
But really, other than that, there's no. That's why
It happens.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know if this person fucks women, but that's like why every girl is like, I just need to go to the bathroom. And is fucking going through her personal, like her little thing of wipes, just cupping water over the toilet
All
into
the folds. Just checking.
just doing a quick check.
Quick fold check.
Yeah.
Welcome to the sisterhood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, that's funny. Has anyone done like a bit about fold checking before you fuck someone?
Not that I've heard
funny.
of. No.
That's funny.
Not that I've
That's
heard
really
of.
funny.
I think it also depends. Look, I don't know about the texture of anyone's vagina, but I imagine that that's also personal, like the moisture level and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Depending
you
on
could go
how
full
your
Greta
hair
Thunberg
growth is.
and get some reusable towels, pop
There you
them
go.
into the little laundry basket next to the toilet. I talked to Jen about this, and she was like, "This is too much."
Yeah, that's too much for me as well.
I have one of those for hiking and camping. It's great.
Right? Yeah. How is that?
It's fine. If you get there's like, yeah, it's fine. It's
Is it
actually
stinky?
amazing. No, like that's the thing that's kind of, I have like one, it's an antibacterial, quick drying, whatever. And like you use it and then you clip it up. So it's like not like open. And no,
Yeah.
it's like hasn't been, I've only used it for, I think 5 days was the longest. I used it for 5 days and it was fine.
I was more thinking like you have a stack of hand towels, essentially small,
No.
teeny tiny towels. You pat, throw it in the.
No, there's like these kinds that you can get that are made to be used multiple times and then you wash them after.
Send me that. I want to do that.
Okay.
Jen's gonna be so mad
Just
at
like
me.
in the apartment, Ashley.
I'm kind of a sustainable queen, guys.
Right?
No,
Yeah.
but
Happy
this is another
2025.
level.
New Year's resolution.
I'm gonna be printing my own tools soon for so.
Do you think you can make a
thanks
plane?
That's my next thing is I'm gonna build a drone once I get the.
I'm so excited.
And then guns. Pow! Pow! Take the
Patreon.com/chosen
government
family
back by storm!
podcast. Please support the show. That's
Social
how we
media
make the
should only be for people over 25. Sign it.
That's how we make the show possible. Patreon.com/chosen family podcast.
Guys, I just cried about the kids. I'm not a
know.
bad person. Can everyone come back now?
Yeah.
Come
No.
on.
Oh,
Haven't I done my time?
she's not a bad person. We promise. Like we promise.
Just because I want to kill my ex-girlfriend doesn't mean I'm a bad person. I didn't attempt. It's not even something I actually want to do.
There was
It's
no
just-
desire there.
There's no
okay?
desire, it's
It was
just like-
just the fantasy.
It was just, wouldn't it be great if I could kill her
Wrong
and then she could
episode,
come
you
back?
guys.
Just so that she could know how mad I am at her.
Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next week. Bye.